Well, pour one out for Madam Web. It did not go very well during the 6-day holiday weekend. I can't wait till a movie gets a month-long weekend. Is this how we're doing things now? Because don't forget, not only did the weekend start on Valentine's Day, it's still going now because of President's Day. So this movie is still technically in its weekend run. So it's not going to matter. This movie is going to be a flop because it only pulled in about $25 million. Even with worldwide numbers, I can't see that getting that much higher. And the sad thing is this movie only had like an $80 million budget. So when you take into account marketing, this movie is not going to make its money back. And they tried to keep this low on the budget pull. Ticket sales for One Love easily led in North America over fellow newcomer Madam Web. By the way, One Love did really good. It overperformed, made like $50 million. So with international numbers, it'll probably be close to 100. It's overperforming. I imagine it will probably hold that momentum into next week. I don't see what's coming out this week. Now, next week, I think, is Dune. So I expect Dune to be a massive hit. That thing is selling out tickets everywhere. If you want to see that movie, you better try to find some tickets and see if you could still buy them. But anyway, Madam Web, Sony's superhero suspense thriller starring Dakota Johnson as a paramedic with psychic abilities and an association to Spider-Man, opened in second place with $17.6 million over the traditional weekend and $25.8 million during the same six-day period. The film launched internationally with $25.7 million from 61 markets. Those are disappointing figures considering Madam Web cost $80 million to produce and tens of millions more to promote and put in theaters. It's the latest entry in the studio's hit and miss universe of Spider-Man characters anchored by the commercially successful Venom and the less embraced Morbius. And even the critically derided Morbius managed to sink its teeth into $39.1 million in its 3-day debut. Now, the good news here is that Sony's making changes. It's not going to be enough. It won't be enough for this movie, for these movies to make money. They need to stop doing these Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man. It needs to stop. It's not working. Nobody cares about these characters. They are using their speech here anchored to Spider-Man. Okay? There's a reason they're supporting characters to him. They don't work without him. It's just a fact. Venom can, but they still needed to anchor him to Spider-Man first and then spin him off. Like, this hasn't worked out very well for them after Venom 1. Venom 2 is a disaster. I would expect Venom 3 will be a disaster. And I'm going to go ahead and call it and say that Kraven is going to be a disaster. But Sony is apparently trying to make some changes. This was some interesting news that I saw over the weekend. Rumor, Amazon's Silk Spider Society acts as entire writer's room. Spider-Man spinoff being retooled for male skewing audiences. So I'm not sure how this worked. I don't know if Amazon bought the rights to this or if Sony sold it to them or they're even involved. But this is going to be on Amazon, so you need Amazon Prime to watch this. However, a minute ago I talked about how these films are going to start making some changes, and I'm going to get to that in a second. There's a reason why they're going to make these changes. It'll make sense when I show you who actually liked Madam Web despite the marketing. So this comes from The Ankler, a site I've never heard of, so take this with a grain of salt. But apparently, they have fired the writer's room for Silk Spider Society, and they brought in a new writing team, and they want to refocus this show on a more male skewing audience, which makes sense. I mean, look at Silk. I don't know what costume they're going to go with. Well, like this version, right? You could easily make this something for a male skewing audience, and it would probably do well as long as the story is good. You still need a good story. This Madam Web movie could have benefited from pushing towards a male skewing audience because I thought this was funny. Cosmic Book News. Dads and 12-year-old boys love Madam Web as box office bombs. And you see this and you say, well, that makes sense because it had Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney in it. Two beautiful women, especially Sydney Sweeney. Very, very attractive woman. And I'm sure surprising nobody. During the audience exits where I've never been a part of this, but sometimes in some theaters when you leave, people try to give you surveys and see how you felt about the movie. And apparently, men love it, despite the movie being marketed to women. And it just shows you, like, women don't show up to this shit. They don't show up. So stop trying to take these superhero movies and turn them into chick flicks. They like movies like Barbie. It's wild to me that these executives can't figure that out. But listen to this. Deadline offers insights into the audience who showed up to theaters. 2 stars on PostTrack so far for a 58% from general audiences, 53% guys attending versus 47% women. However, it said Sony went after young women with Madam Web, with 70% of its 60 million global P&A allocated towards social and TikTok. For some reason, parents, mostly dads at 62%, and kids under 12 saw a different movie. They both gave it 4.5 stars. And as Cosmic Book News adds here, it's probably because of Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney. And I'm forced to agree. That's definitely why. So, similar to the Marvels, girls didn't show up for it because they don't have any interest in this shit. They want to watch Barbie. Why can't they figure this out? You think they would by now. If they had made this, because, by the way, this movie is atrocious. It sucks. There's no action scenes in it, by the way. No fights. So them running from Ezekiel the whole time. And they're only in the costumes for like 3 minutes. They're in flashbacks. The movie's bad. It's really bad. It should have never been made. And there's a lot of cinema writers out there from Hollywood bitching. I saw Lofty Pixels has been arguing with one for like 2 days now. They're saying you can't blame the writers. Well, I can blame the writers when the people that have wrote this movie also wrote a couple other movies that were all garbage as well. Like the same people who wrote this wrote Morbius. Why are these guys getting work? They don't know what they're doing. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble Locals. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my locals.